cookie-cutter approach doesn't work. We need a diversity of ideas. Come to us with global world-class ideas. Let us blend that in with indigenous ideas for people that are in this environment and know the unique challenges that we face, such that your investment pays off. We've seen a lot of investment that pay off. There are schools that have been built in the Niger Delta that are empty, brand new schools, because we later found out that that may not be the way, that who wants to live there, the best teacher who wants to live where you built the schools. So how about training the actual people that will teach, the doctors, the teachers,
Next up is the red card show. You leave your house in the morning and go to the office, and you unconsciously notice everyone's out there. You notice the car. You notice the red car. And this is how it goes.
Hello?
This is how I actually
Yes, sir.
apologies.
I will come now. There's this panel section. After the end of this panel section, I will come over. You say close to Genesis Restaurant, right? So, okay, I'll do that.
The right time. Use the right waiting time. You don't get some yes, you have advice from them. So from my perspective, I coach in Natasha the sponsorship around our communities, and we are very key for Zaire. We go down to the kindergartens if that's possible. Start from there. We need to first start my work with this culture. We need to learn how to transfer knowledge from the aging first to the young ones. We need to also support in terms of innovation. We need to support in terms of innovation. We need to job shadow. We need to allow the young generation to learn the mental and aging stuff. She might be selling Isaac. These are cultures that we bring up. These are cultures that companies that train us allow us to freely operate, freely learn. Individuals and say, oh, these guys are the right mindset. Invest more. And 50-50, exactly, they'll start this. In fact, when we are having our meetings at our organization, I look at my people. 70% women, 30% men. I'm like, what's going on here? What's going on here? And it's a thing of joy for me to see that the joy power approach is out there. Everyone wants to support this drive. Everyone wants to support this motion. We don't just want to sit back and say, oh, yeah, the girls. No, let's go to the field. Let's go to the rural areas. Nigeria's urbanization is on the large scale. But if we leave the people in the villages, in the rural areas, those who are connected, there are communities in Nigeria who have power. Do you believe? So I'm telling you. So we need to take the ministry. We need to go and push. And again, from the aging workforce, please, I'd like to plead, documentation is important. Very, very crucial. You can't just train them, you can't just lead on and not properly document what was transferred or the knowledge we've gathered over 30, 35, 40 years and transfer it to these young ones. So for me, from my perspective, the sphere of knowledge is on different levels, and we need to continue to invest in these people. We need to continue to invest. Like you rightly said, AI is taking every part of the world. AI is one of the best things that has happened to us. And if you do not have an open mindset, if you're not willing to learn, I have a very, very famous adage. unlearn, relearn, and isolate. Continue to improve. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. So just for the record, you're my favorite panelist. Because you said I'm not too old. Thank you. I want to just maybe rehash something that I think is very important and make sure, because it wasn't part of my thought process. And you mentioned, it started with, and you also mentioned, which is the community. And I want to say it in a way towards the audience, and we all need to remember to make that a part of our life. And I say that because they're quite, and we have to be deliberate about that. And we need to understand that dealing and developing our community, developing people in our community, from the human capacity and maybe even vendor and entrepreneurial side of it, we have to adopt a slightly different approach. I mean, you mentioned that there are communities that does not have power. It shouldn't be, but that's where we are today. They are. So if I'm going to integrate a child that grew up in Surulere in Lagos and a child that grew up in a community that does not have power, if I'm going to integrate them into my workforce, I need to think differently. Another part of it is we need to, I've talked to a lot of peers in the industry and they complain about inability to get quality talent pool out of their immediate community. It is true, it's a challenge. But one of the things I found out lately is sometimes you have to really go in there. But more importantly, you probably have to identify these talents very early in their growth path, right? In the child that grew up in Surulere has everything he needs for everything, but much higher access to things that he needs to develop into a potential Chevron or Iconic or Tenaris or money workforce. But there are a lot of people falling by the wayside because they did not get it. So I think we all need to kind of rethink what we do when it comes to developing our community. All right, so with that said, I want to go into, so I'll take mentorship out of what I just said, because mentorship is important. So when I said identify, it means find a way to get them and then give them access to some kind of mentorship, some kind of leadership, some kind of steer. But if I take that out and I'm going to start with you, Michelle, because you're sitting projects, I want to share your thoughts on what it takes to develop a leader.
That's going to make this so much more fun. Leadership for me in this industry, it's got to start with the foundational knowledge of the industry. I do find that people want to come in and they want to be CEO. Right? I did 10 years rotating offshore. I'm not saying everyone's got to do 10 years rotating offshore, but I think it does take a fundamental knowledge of our industry. And that could be any different function. That could be a petrotech function. That could be chemical engineering. That could be operations and maintenance. A good leader knows the business. And so it starts with that functional foundation of the business. It also requires a commercial knowledge of the business. So much of what we do, we can solve the technical challenges. But a lot of what we do is partnership. It's commercial terms. It's partnering with the federal government. It's partnering with each other. It's partnering with service providers. It's understanding terms and conditions and how to get business done. Because ultimately, you need to make returns. I wish we were all altruistic, but the truth is, we are here to make returns on our investment. And a good leader has to understand how to do that. So they have to start with the foundational knowledge. They have to build on that with the commercial knowledge on how they're going to get a return from the technical work. And then there's the people side. And I I think historically we haven't focused as much on the people side. We looked at it as soft skills. They're not soft skills, they're actually the hard skills. You can go to school and learn the hard skills. You can get the technical stuff. Nobody teaches you how to be a good leader. And that is empathy. That is being open to ideas. It's being open to feedback. It's being open to change. It's learning how, when something like a new technology like AI comes to be, you can't just sit back and say, no, I've got my 20 years of technical background, we didn't use AI. If we were still there, geologists would still be using colored pencils to color in logs. That's the stuff that it takes to be a good leader. So to me, it's a component of all three. It's a technical foundation. It's understanding commercial and business and how you can get a return from that technical foundation. And it's got to include change the empathy, how you grow other leaders. That is the one that is probably most often missing because it's the one that is hardest to do.
And again, I'll put everybody on the spot. So I'm going to ask to you, what would you say to a young mentee that comes to you? Like, how would you develop? What would be the person to become leaders of where you are?
Leadership of style, leadership of behavioral science, blah, blah, blah. So, I honestly believe that if you're not going to do that, so if you want to portray, identify, another leader, you should be able to see leaders in whoever you are mentoring. There are not only you can see, identify strengths, identify weaknesses of people, and drive one thing to open-mindedness. This is the first lesson. You open to the mind, you open to change, and you really and intentional about memory. It is interesting to know that I'm a stranger in a different field now. I got into the office. I packed the certificate aside. Trained in another field entirely. That is shaping my mind, shaping who I am, controlling who I am. And by extension, I'm a good transferring those knowledge. Most of the leaders around the world, Zaria, yeah, I learned something from her last year. She wouldn't believe it. And it's being able to learn, understand your errors as a leader, identify it, apologize for it. You have an MD, you're in charge, and he doesn't apologize, then it's a bit of a problem. Apologize when you're wrong. If you're in public, apologize in public. Don't apologize in private. Do you understand? So these are the things we need to teach the young ones. Be empathetic, kind. Soft words like thank you. Characters like opening the door for your fellow colleagues to take you up there. So we should be able to foster an environment where there is a culture of kindness, be open, and we should be sincere about it. We don't just talk about it. Practice it. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know, but I still think everybody out there, let me take this. It's easier for some than for others. Yeah. But a good point about being vulnerable, being open to being vulnerable, saying that. Not being afraid of being vulnerable around your people, right? And then you have to understand it. So that's Rosario, what would you say?
sure I have a few mentees sitting here. But okay, it's an interesting perspective around leadership. I mostly align as well with my first two speakers. I would call what Michelle mentioned around foundation, character building. I think it starts at the foundation, building the character of the person. And this is why earlier on I said at Tenerife, for instance, we start at all levels to ensure that the kind of education that is available to our communities are in such a way that you kind of raise the bar one step, for them to be equitable. Because yes, for us in this room, for most of us in this room, we probably can afford sending our children to very good private schools, after work, send them abroad, and all those fancy things. And sometimes when they go off, they never want to come back anyways. So we still need to continue to develop the workforce, right? So for me, the education that we require today, to build character is not just focused on academics. It's focused on a well-rounded person, a well-rounded human that combines confidence, competence, and a lot about willpower, just the will to just continue to try, right? Yes, someone in the panel, I can't recall if it was Bambo or who mentioned that, a lot of times we see comments coming from, we can't find people, even from the communities, we can't find the right fit. But that's because we have not taken the step, and that was the point Bambo was trying to make, right? And so, for me, at that foundational level, we need to focus on ensuring that the right character of the child is formed. Once that is formed, next level is to focus on building your technical competencies in whatever profession it is. Technical competencies, it could be in energy, it could be in banking, it could be in the financial world. There's a wide variety of industries or segments that you can hone your skills. While you're focusing on those technical competencies, it's important to put in view on competencies that allow you to be versatile, what we call transferable skills. So I always also tell my mentees to focus on building transferable skills and being able to identify them. Recently, someone sent me a CV who said it was a good job, and he sent me a CV, and I looked at the CV and I was like, I was not the recruiter, but I already looked at the CV and I could tell that it wouldn't fly. So I looked at it and said, this wouldn't fly. Because he had listed all the job roles that he had done, but I couldn't really feel from his CV what skills he possesses to be able to do the job. So I gave him that advice and told him to go and sit down and do a bit of reflection on his journey so far, identify his technical competencies as well as his what you have called commercial and other softer competencies that allow you to be versatile. And when he did that, he came back, put the CV through the system, and he got the job. So that's what makes the difference. So it's important that we have this view as we build our leadership competencies to first build a very solid character base, build a solid technical base, and then you top that up with a solid, let's say, commercial soft base that allows you to be empathetic, that allows you to be confident, that allows you to be, all round being able to solve problems. Because at the end of the day, the world requires problem-solving abilities. We don't require talk shop. We are here talking. But if we leave this place and we don't roll our sleeves or roll up our sleeves and get the job done, then it will never happen. So a good leader as well will have that ability to be able to execute or have an execution bias that allows you to add or combine all these competencies to drive and solve real-life problems. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rosario, for that. I really enjoyed our perspective. And I'd like to narrow the question a little bit in terms of what does it take to be a good leader in Nigeria? Because it's different. It's different. Or it's more. I'll start from what the shell. I really like the foundation shell. You require that industry knowledge. It's the price of admission. The education, the industry knowledge is the price of admission. Come to energy, you have it cash. But you could just sit in the lunchroom and miss everything. So it's just a price of admission. It doesn't make you successful. What do we need to be a leader in Nigeria? Not even just in our industry. You need a vision. By vision, I mean you need to be able to visualize the end state. What do we want to be? What do we want to accomplish? Do we want to be like Saudi Arabia in 20 years? Do we want to be like Dubai? Or for those who watch a lot of movies, do we want to be like Wakanda? But we have to have an end state. I always like to say, never confuse a line of sight to a straight line. So, step one, have an end state, line of sight. This is where I want to be. But then also realize it's not going to be a straight line. There are so many things that you have to do along the way to get there. And that's where tenacity comes in. I really believe tenacity is one of Nigerians' innate superpowers. It's like a 6 or 7 senses. To the point that people make things difficult for you just to check if you're in Nigeria. If you take your care, instead of asking for your passport, just make things difficult for you. It's not in Nigeria. So the tenacity is required. You have to be able to keep at it. And by doing that, that means you're focusing on where you want to be. There's a question you asked earlier, maybe was a statement about the challenge of maybe you're recruiting someone who grew up in some area and power, etc. And then you're recruiting somebody else who grew up in a part of Nigeria that never had power. But guess what? They're the same place now. That's what I was referring to as the diversity of ideas. We've had different challenges, and if they never meet, how do we even solve the unique problems that we have? It's the same Nigeria. So, being able to meet and grow together, that's how we build our culture. Nigeria has been producing oil for a long time. I believe it's especially over 70 years to be producing oil. It's time for a second, third generation. It's beautiful that we spoke about AI, and we're not really going to say we're not going to say AI and other young people. It's the same thing. I don't believe, and I'm going to just go right out and say it, I don't believe that the IOCs are in a position to say there is no exploration and production, at least in onshore, more than indigenous companies today. We face certain challenges. We've learned, and now it's time to grow. There's a lot of, as we all know, indigenization going on. It's not by accident. It's part of our life cycle. So now when it's in our hands, what is our end state? What do we want to accomplish or achieve? And how do we want to ensure that there's a continuum to the next generation? So that they can look at. We have, about IOCs training Nigerians and giving them the opportunity. The indigenous companies do it now. We personally, or working personally in the company, but we will take ownership. We want to do like family. We have a undergraduate accelerated program. We bring together all these people. It's a diversity of ideas, diversity of people. We stay with us for 2 years, and we go into the end. We have a few new audits with us. And we believe that that's how they train leadership. The first thing is you must be a leader yourself. You cannot be a follower and you're trying to train leaders. They must be able to look up to you, you must be able to inspire, and you must be able to show them a vision, knowing that you will not always be there such that they can take up that mantle with their new ideas which you cannot have. Your education, your exposure is different, it's a dynamic environment. 10 years ago, the idea of remote work was implausible. Now we were forced into it by COVID. But guess what? In some traditional work environments, as soon as we all return to the office, a lot of companies don't look at this remote work as an advantage. Now, well, some people are trying to phase it out. Everybody must be in the office, not realizing that we must just acquire the new skill. Young people don't think like that. It allows them to have more of an open mind and really the majority of Nigeria is a young country. So we cannot continue to have the tail wagging the dog. They will lead eventually, whether you give them the skills or not. So it's in everyone's best interest at least to that space. Thank you so much.
The way that hand went up is like the question that's boiling in your heart. It's all right. Bro, help me, please.
I'm going to try to narrow down my questions.
Please, can I remove the S?
I'll take it down to just one.
Thank you very much.
Good. My question, I'm going to take us back a notch. My name is Wale. I came all the way from the US for this to see how this environment is and what I can bring here. You mentioned something about diversity. I don't need to call the US my home. I've lived there for 17 years. Diversity is streamlined to white, black, man, or woman. In Nigeria, we have multiple ethnicities, we have multiple languages from different backgrounds. Based on what you guys have spoken about, we've talked about statistics around men and women, educational, industrial knowledge.
Can we get a question?
What are we doing about the different ethnic groups? We have 3 major languages. Are we bringing that into our independent policies and ensuring that we extend diversity into those ethnic groups? Thank you.
Thank you very much. She's helping. Okay, diversity.
Okay, you can still take this one.
Okay, go ahead. If there's a woman, we'll take the woman. Yes.
Thank you so much. My name is Sam. Christoph from Michelle. Nigeria is, we know, we are known for many things. Poverty capital of the world. But we are also the energy deficit capital of the world. My question is, how can we solve this conundrum of being so rich in resources, one of the largest gas reserves in the world, a big player in oil from the European perspective, and yet we don't have energy? What's the issue from your perspective, and how can this issue be solved? Thanks.
Yeah, the lady. Let's take the lady and that's it.
Thank you so much. I really like when I hear people talk about diversity, because I'm the Secretary of Diversity Group with the Nigerian Gas Association. My question is, every time we go for these energy events, we hear diversity, diversity, diversity. And we hear people talk about, oh, we're bringing inclusion, women are taking center stage now. But I have not really seen the practical thing being done. It's been a lot of talk, but we've not seen the work. So I just want to ask, apart from people saying, oh, in organization now women have 20% women sit on the board, my question is, what are we doing to encourage the young ones, the young girls in school? What exactly are we practically doing to tell them, look, this industry is not just open to the male gender, but to the women? What are we doing to guide them, to mentor them, to tell them, take these STEM courses and come up? And what are the other ways that we can collaborate to really, really infuse inclusion of women in the energy sector? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is that it? Can we, all right, good. Michelle, I'll let you take the energy gap. Sorry, the question. I don't know that.
You've asked reserves. There are the people. I believe there's the investment. That's why we're here. We have people willing to invest money in technology into solving these challenges. I believe it's partnership. I don't think any one company, I don't think the federal government alone can build the energy security that this country needs. I think it's going to take a culture of collaboration, true collaboration, where we're all in it for the growth. Because there's too many barriers to growth. And each of us is going to bring a different piece. We need the stability and security. We need the competent workforce that needs to come from the communities. We need the business partners that are bringing in the technology and the goods and services. We need both the independent producers and the IOCs to come together to tackle some of the challenges that come across the whole portfolio, from deep water to near shore to the energy transition. And I think we all want to make money, but we all need to come together to truly collaborate to make that happen. I believe that we can make the pie bigger. I think there's a lot of folks that are looking for their piece of the pie. We all want to make money. Like I said, we're not altruistic. We do want returns on our investment. But I think there's another view of that where we can actually make the pie bigger so that there is more for everyone, more for all of the companies. And I think that has to come from the spirit of collaboration.
Thank you. So there are two types of questions. One is specific to women, and the other one is specific to cultural diversity in our workforce. Rosario, I'll let you take the women diversity and go with your.
Thanks. That was a very interesting question. I actually offered to take this because I think that when you're talking about practicality, there are many ways to identify practicality. And I'll mention two things just to support and probably help you see a different perspective to this comment or to your question. The first perspective is, for me, I use myself as an example. I became the first female managing director of Oppotunitues in Nigeria after over 10 years of having if this is not practicality enough, I don't know what that practicality will look like, beyond this. Again, for me, I became the first female chairperson of the Petroleum Contractors Trade Section. I died an army of 7 men, entire inclusive, so this is practical enough, right? Just to demonstrate that, just from our own organization, these are actions to make sure you demonstrate that you are diverse or you have a view of increasing diversity in your workforce. Imagine the quantum effect around all the organizations that Shell has been as well as that tells you that there's been concerted efforts, practical efforts towards addressing the diversity agenda. Now, there's a second angle to which is said. The second angle to this is, yes, what's happening to the young ones coming afterwards. Again, for many organizations, we promote the culture of STEM-focused programs where we deploy at scale at all levels. I'm sure every organization today, or most organizations who are forward-thinking, have STEM-focused programs to spark STEM curiosity and learning and ensure that that model is moving towards the pipeline of the future. As an example, I also sit on the board of the Women in Energy Network. I hope you remember. If you're not a member, get registered today. Because the idea around solving the diversity challenge is not for us, it's for all of us. So you have to be practical around joining networks that allow you to contribute your own data towards addressing the issue of diversity. And in where, as the academic director, I'm very aware that we have the Supernova program. The Supernova program was created to address the specific gap of creating a pipeline of young talent, especially people focused on STEM, so that for the future of the Wow. Cultural diversity is important, right? I agree with you that we don't need to look at only the D&I lens, the gender lens or the age lens. We need to look, especially for a country such as Nigeria, where we are divided by political rights, we are divided by tribal rights, and we are divided by religious rights. It's important that in hiring processes, we exclude, in fact, from the hiring process, it's important that you define in such a way that every form of bias is included, right? And so, when you're coming to the point where you're recruiting a talent, it's because that talent is competent enough, right? And cuts across, any particular tribe, religion, or background, or ethnicity. This is generally what most companies are adopting today. From the government's perspective as well, I think that that's what federal character represents. In the form of ensuring that there is representation across all the 6 geopolitical zones. I don't know how well that is advancing. I can't speak into that, but I think that there's a clear sense of intent around that direction as well. I hope this answers your question. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. I guess but no, thank you everyone again for that. Thanks for coming so to listen to us. It's been enriching. This is me, and I hope it is for you. It's been enriching.
I want to use this for group photographs.
And if you have any,
someone take any photograph
please reach out to these people. I have their phone numbers.
Okay.
Thank you one more time.